Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the
Good afternoon, and there are 9 people on live. Jeez, that was unexpected. Nice little unexpected live. I'm going to catch up with some Celtic news this afternoon. Let's jump over the comments and see who is all online. If anybody can comment, not expecting too much people on this afternoon, but this one is more for the people down under because a lot of people in Asia and over that end of the world were saying that the 7 o'clock one's a bit late for them. So I did say that I would probably do an afternoon version of the live. So hi, Scott. Hi, Lee. Hail. Good to see you on the channel this afternoon. And there we go, right in from Australia. So this is the whole reason that I'm doing these afternoon lives, is the fact that we can get people from the other side of the world, because I understand that the one at 7 o'clock going forward, the one will be still on at 6 p.m. tonight. But the one's going forward, it's looking like it's going to be 7 p.m. And that is all down to the viewers. So the big news is there's a paper I've run a story about. Kyogo was asked in Japan about an exit from Celtic, and he's basically come out and said that he's focused totally on Celtic, and he's not thinking about his future beyond Celtic. He refused to go into it, and he said he's only focused on winning another treble for Celtic. He went on to saying he wasn't entertaining questions about his future. He's laser focused. The player that scored 34 times in 50 appearances last season was obviously handed a new contract at the start of this season when Brendan Rodgers came in. I think that was just to make sure that we keep our prize assets more than anything. He'd been loosely linked with joining Postecoglou down in Tottenham, but as we're all kind of aware now, there seems to be a bit of a clause stopping Postecoglou coming in for players in the first year after he left. The interview with the Japanese magazine, he explained why he decided to stay in Glasgow, and we're all concerned about that. He says, whenever he decides to leave, eventually, Kyogo refused to go into detail with that. He says, but the thing about Celtic is they're really warm. They accept us Japanese players from a foreign country. He says they're so enthusiastic about the game. He says even when you're driving, they beep a horn from the other car and they wave at you. He says I was in a restaurant and the guy that was meant to be working in the restaurant approached me and said with a smile and says, "Can I get a picture?" The stadium's absolutely fantastic. The children everywhere and elderly support you with tremendous amount of passion. I am grateful that the club needed me enough to sign a new contract. I am glad that my hard work was appreciated, said Kyogo Furiashi. He says, I couldn't have done it alone, obviously. He says, I'd like to thank the people around me, the support and the players. He says, the players have been absolutely fantastic. I want to continue by scoring as many goals as possible. In order to do that, I need to strictly focus on myself. I can only repay the club through goals and through my football. He was less forthcoming when he was asked about leaving the club. He says, I can't go into that in detail, sorry. I'm not even thinking about it. End of conversation. So that's one fantastic bit of news that James, I was going to say, I was looking at the comments there, that Kyogo is obviously not thinking about. Hi from Hong Kong. There we go. Lee, thanks for that. Right, let's get, love your versatility, says Lee Morrison. Hi from Hong Kong, says Sarah Ann. This is exactly why I want to do these videos at this time of day, is so that the wider world audience of Celtic can get and have their say on the videos as well. Hi mate, great vlogs coming in, boys in green. Thanks, Baz. Not a problem, Angelo. Kyogo is the best player by 100. Yep. Keep catching up with you here, bud. Heading off to Yorkshire for a holiday. Keep Celtic mascot on the dashboard. Excellent. Hail, Barry Boyle. We're just getting as many of these as possible. Kyogo, hat-trick tomorrow. Let's talk about that this evening on the live at 6 p.m. It's going to be a cracker. It's probably going to go on for just under an hour and a half, I reckon. 3-0 the boys. Hail from Belfast. Cheers, mate. Kyogo is a prisoner between games in my house. I think he'd be a prisoner in most people's houses. He would get a few Champions League bars. Uncle Patrick, I see you. Hail from London. Right, and another bit of news. We need to talk about someone that I think, I'm going to put it out there this afternoon, and someone that I think is going to have a really good season. And I think he's going to give a Celtic player that's been a starter for the last 2 seasons, a player that was probably most improved under Ange Postecoglou, a player that was a definite for starting. But I think Bernabe is going to give going to give Greg Taylor. I've just watched Turnbull on the video. He's going to give Greg Taylor a run for his money. That's my prediction for this season. Tell me what you think about that. I think Bernabe is going to have one fantastic season. I think he's going to push Greg Taylor all the way. And I think the fact that he's caught Brendan Rodgers' eye. When we look back to the interviews over the past couple of days, Brendan does talk about players that's caught his eye. He says that Bernabe has been a player that he's been able to connect with, and he'd just like to find out a bit more about him. He's a player that's really good at going forward. He knows how to work defensively. Because it's fundamental to do that, the way that we attack, he says you need to be able to defend, especially since he plays fullback. I think there are a number of players in the squad who have had a great amount of game time. The slate is wiped clean for them, he said. Those guys have shown up in pre-season, and he said, I'll judge people on their merit. And you've got to admit, Bernabe has sort of upped his game a bit this pre-season. You can't take anything away from pre-season games, but I do think in training and the fact that he's caught the manager's eye, I think it's going to be a case that, he's going to be the one to watch. If there's anybody that you could say at the start of the season who might be the most improved player this year, I think it'll be Bernabe. Now, you can't say anything about the guys that are coming into the team because they're just coming in. Bernabe has been in since the turn of the year, but I think he will be one of the most improved ones to watch out. So between now and Christmas, I'll stick a 5 on it. Bernabe, the very honourable and loyal race, the Japanese. Yes, they are that. I think that too, says Lee Morrison. I think you're talking about Bernabe. I've just got a feeling. Sometimes you get a feeling about a player, and when we're talking about the big player that used to wear the policeman's caps and how much he improved as a Celtic player. Bernabe's got exactly. That's just, you took the words out my mouth. Bernabe's got a little swagger about him, and I think he'll be one that will really improve this year, and he'll be one that will struggle to keep on hold of in 2 years' time, I'm going to say. If he has a really good crack in Champions League, you're going to get a Spanish team, I reckon, will come in from, just for the fact that it's from Argentina. From Patrick Toner, it says from pre-season, Bernabe is definitely looking good. Here we go for 3 in a row. Any other Celtic news about this one? There's not really a lot going about. I'm sort of just doing this just as a catch-up. If you've missed this morning's Celtic news video, make sure that you check that out. There has been a few things that the Celtic have come out with today, and obviously the one that the manager and Brendan Rodgers is basically looking forward to the challenge of every single trophy again. He's thrown down the gauntlet. Do you know what I mean? He's thrown down the gauntlet. If there's teams out there that think that the all-conquering treble sides of the past 5-6 years, okay, if you think that they're gone, if you think with all the good players that we've lost over the last 2 years, when we lost everyone at the end of the 9 in a row, I think when you talk about the players that have came in, people are saying that we're weaker. We are not weaker going into this season. We've lost 2 players. Aaron Moy, who over the last 2 seasons was kind of a bit part player. He had a really good game after the World Cup. He had a good run after the World Cup. He was buzzing after the World Cup. What a way to go out on a high for Aaron Moy, playing a World Cup and then win a treble with Celtic and then just retire and just say, do you know what? I've had enough. That's it. That's it for me. Total respect for Aaron Moy for that. We're not going to sell any more assets. Doesn't look. The only one that might be sold is Celtic are bracing themselves for Starfelt, and I spoke about that in this morning's video. There are rumours going around that Starfelt may get some offers coming in, and I did say this when it came out that the Russian team were going to make a bid for him. I said what that will do is it'll open up the floodgates. It'll let people know that Celtic may be in a position to sell him. But what would it take to sell him? It's going to take between £6 and £8 million to get Starfelt out the door. I'm going to tell you that now. So talking about the manager, talking about what he sees, the fact is that Brendan Rodgers started the season 23-24 campaign, and he's basically got an ace up his sleeve, you know. And that ace is he knows how to win trebles at Celtic. He knows how to win trebles. We've got some games that are, well, we've got a good few. We've got an away run at the start of the season. And I accidentally came across, I never watch football podcasts and any sort. The only ones that I do are the ones that have generally got between 50 and 500,000 subscribers. And I only do that to see how they do it and see how I can grow this channel. I came across one this morning, and they were talking about the fact that they have spent a lot of money on players. They have, they think they've got now sellable assets, and they think that if they can go to the 3rd of September and still be on a level playing field with us, they'll be in with a shout this season. And then 2 minutes later, the guy was like, maybe not. We don't know how these players are going to be, but we know how to win trebles as a club. We've been there and done it. You know, we've got more. Yes, exactly. We have more strength and depth within it, right? And time will tell if we miss Jota. I don't actually think that we're going to miss him. Personally, that's just he was a showman. You know, he was fantastic. He was great. He scored some cracking goals. Will we have players in just... You can't... Let's have the conversation at the end of the window to see whether we're stronger or not. As it stands just now, we are stronger than we finished last season. Player squad-wise, we're stronger. There's going to be, evening from Gibraltar. Peter, evening, it's afternoon. What are you doing? Good evening. You've been on the Swally already. It's afternoon. It can only be 2 o'clock there as well. It's only 2 o'clock here. Helen's in the house. Hi, Helen. How are you? Yeah, so where was it? We're talking about we know how to win trebles. Do you think we'll miss Aaron Moy? He only had one half a good season. You know, he was a squad player other than that. So, you know, when you look at the second half of last season, we are going to be on fire. If you listen to the Brendan Rodgers interview from yesterday, Brendan says that he's took the last 4 weeks or whatever it's been of the pre-season, and he's basically looked at the playing squads. And obviously there's the recruitment staff and the staff that are in Celtic are obviously saying, look, we need to strengthen here, we need to do this, we need to bring this type of player in. And it's 7:15 p.m. in Thailand. This is exactly the reason, John, that I like to do these videos earlier. It's good to get one out early in the afternoon. It might be something going forward, actually. It might be something that. Yeah, Ohm will be better than Aaron Moy, and Ohm is younger. That's what you have to remember. It's roasting in Thailand. Started early in the San Miguel. Go yourself, Peter. I'm going out for a meal tonight, so I'll not be drinking anything until then. The wee fan for Japan, right? When you look at the size of the squad, I keep getting dragged away by the comments. That's what's great about these lives. You can kind of go in and I can know what I'm going to talk about. But when you start going into the comment section and making it a bit more all-inclusive, it's great to get... I rate Bernabe. He's been a revelation under Brendan. That's what we're saying at the beginning. I think he is my one to watch this season. He is my one to watch. I think Bernabe is going to come onto a game, and I think he really is going to give Taylor a run for his money. As for the starting lineup, let's get back to what the manager has been talking about. He's obviously facing the media yesterday ahead of the game on Saturday. In order to have long-term success and to continue, there are certain elements and items you need to ensure to guard against, said Brendan Rodgers. For a club like Celtic, it is always about, you know, every manager says that. You have to say this at Celtic. It's not about winning, it's about winning in the best way possible. Sometimes that is harder. I think when we did the treble the first time, Brendan went on about, and we spoke about this before, Callum McGregor says the new flexibility in Celtic's training since the return of the Irishman is what could deliver the transportation to the training fields, and he reckons that is the perfect mix to keep on going with the success. There's not a right way or a wrong way, he says, but throughout my coaching career, says Brendan, I've always had a philosophy in terms of how I want teams to play. So the fact that Callum McGregor's been talking about the little changes, because you have to remember it was John Kennedy that took the training, especially last season, and Ange Postecoglou said that himself. He says, I put a lot of pressure on Brendan speaking Spanish to be animated how galvanized. Yes, it will be. It's a different type of Spanish, Martin. As the South American Spanish is different from the mainland Spanish. It is it does the same, but sometimes there are a lot of people from Colombia here, and they can speak South American Spanish, but they struggle with Spanish, and especially in this region, it's Valenciana, before they'll speak Spanish. Anyway, let's get back to Brendan Rodgers and the captain. The captain talking about the fact that there's slight changes to the way that they're doing training. And obviously, unfortunately, I can't make the game tomorrow, but come on about your boys in green. Good to see that you're still going to the games, though, Helen. Callum saying that there's been little tweaks, and Brendan has looked at the games from last season and looked at things and thought, how can we tactically change things? And the way going forward is it's not going to be about, it's still going to be about hammering teams and pushing them back and, playing with a fast pace. But there's going to be a point in every game where teams are going to just bugger it, we're going to sit back, and we've had that for years now in Scottish football. When it was good when Ange came in, the team were moving around fast and they were fast moving. There was nobody stagnant. And when they were in attack, each player was moving around so that the defenders were like, where are the Celtic players? That was what was good about Ange in his first season. Now, bringing that forward, last season, they were a little bit stagnant towards the end. But Brendan has obviously noticed that in games. And he said, how can we change things up tactically during games so that it gives teams something else to think about? And this is where Brendan is in his element as a coach. As a coach, he loves that side of the game, the tactical side of the game. He absolutely loves it. I mean, I've watched loads of interviews with Brendan over the years, and it's something that he always likes to learn about and talk to other coaches about. So going forward, I think it's going to be a really exciting season for Celtic. Bernabei can't defend 2 week and lose his position. Good going forward. Yes, he might be, but you're taking that from last season. John, you're taking that from last season. Let's see how he performs. Bernabei starting on the left. More, please. Brendan Kyogo just signed a contract extension. He's going nowhere. Yes, he was. He isn't going anywhere, but he was asked about the contract situation. And if you missed the start of the video, we spoke about it then. What's Scott Sinclair doing these days? No idea. Scott Sinclair went down the leagues, and I think he's probably finished his career. Is his missus still on Coronation Street or whatever it was? Rogers would understand Bernabei. Speak a wee bit of Chilean Spanish, can't understand anything the Spaniards say in conversation. Yeah, this is very true. It's not. It's completely different. So when you speak some South American Spanish, you can understand, but generally South American Spanish is completely different from the normal Spanish, we would say. But Spanish is one of the biggest spoken languages around the world. So there you go. I can see us doing a 3-2-3-1 domestically. That's how Brendan plays anyway. And then in the Champions League and at home, but in the Champions League, I'd say a 3-5-2. I don't think so. I don't think we'll play a 3-5-2 in the Champions League. Brendan will go far more defensive-minded in the Champions League. Far more defensive. I would like to see Bernabei tried on the left wing. Well, could be. Right, let's get a quick update. This is only going to be a quick live. I am going to cut it short at 20 minutes, just so that folk down under and folk on the other half of the planet can see us. Carter Vickers and Starfelt and Rocky have been confirmed and been spotted in training today. So we knew that they were all fit. The only one I seen that Alistair Johnson was spotted coming out of training at Celtic Park today. So that's exciting. That's good to know that he is back. And there's other people saying that about the players that were spotted in training. Now we know Carter Vickers. Could be the fact that we go with Vickers, Rocky, and Starfelt as a back three. Now, because we've never had the three of them playing together, there's the question of the day. Right, we've got around about a minute and a half left. I am going to 3 at the back in Champions League and 5 in midfield. Yes. Well, there's one I've just said. Hi there, Tony. How are you? Let's get a new star this season. Oh, my goodness. I was talking about when I came across a podcast this morning. And there's a certain team in Scotland, not Celtic, that are thinking that they're going to finish in the last 8 of the Champions League. Oh, the banter years have started already. Great news on Johnson. Yeah, Alistair Johnson was spotted coming from training today, and there was a guy put on one of the Celtic pages on Facebook and getting his son's getting all the pictures taken, and Alistair Johnson looked quite nice and healthy. I think 3 at the back. Could your 3 at the back be Starfelt, Carter Vickers, and Big Rocky? There we go. That is the question. Think about it the rest of the afternoon. We'll see you back at 6 p.m. tonight for the lives. For the ones that are in Australia, lovely one, sorry, I nearly missed. I was driving when we went through the live. Don't worry about it, Lorna. Don't worry about it. Sefco, all talk, no walk. Cheers for the show from Central Coast. Yep, this is the reason. This is probably going to be a more regular thing. I know I'd put out the morning news videos, but I think I might do a live just for the guys down under and in Thailand and New Zealand, and we've had them from all over the world. So yeah, it's just to get this channel even more inclusive than what it is. And there has been a suggestion I'm trying to go up against other Celtic pages on times. I don't have enough time to watch other Celtic pages, and I don't know, and it's no disrespect for them. I don't have the time to look at a lot of Celtic media. I get all the information that I get, and then I do the videos. It's as simple as that. That's the way I do it. It is 7:31 a.m. in Iowa. Bring up the USA. Bring up the USA. There we go. Well, you'll be able to watch us this evening, Matty. I hope you join on spot-only. Yep, last season Sefco was enjoying my meal tonight. I will be enjoying my meal after the live tonight. So the live will start at 6 p.m. Celtic Park time and 7 p.m. Europe. And then I will be finishing that about an hour and 20 odd minutes later. And I'll be going for a nice meal with the missus and a couple of friends. So on that note, have a great day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to